Welcome to another episode of Get Into It with Tami Roman. Soulmates, thank you so much for joining me tonight. And of course, I've got another wonderful show coming up for you. But first, let me just explain. I got some things I need to explain. Okay, so you notice that I am in my kitchen. This is the second time that I have been in my kitchen since I bought this house. And so I was in Los Angeles and I had my beautiful FOXSOUL backdrop and I had to ship that to where I live and it hasn't arrived yet. So you guys are getting an exclusive sneak peek into my all white kitchen. But that's how we're gonna do it this week, child, because my FOXSOUL stuff don't get here till next week. So we just gonna enjoy this all white kitchen while we can, because I'm sure I'll be leaving next week and then I'll be somewhere else and I'll even miss it. But getting into the show, you know how I do. We always have amazing guests around here, and today is no different. My guest is Dr. Ish Major. He is the co-host of the hit show Marriage Bootcamp on WeTV. Now, when I did Marriage Bootcamp, he wasn't there yet. So I'm really excited about getting the opportunity to talk to him because I've seen some of the great things that he's done over there with these couples, child, that be gone awry, these relationships that's just tumultuous. So I'm excited to talk to him. And later in the show, I'm going to help you guys out by answering your question in my Ask Tami segment. Now, this is where I give advice to you on the drama in your life, your issues at work, things with your family, things with your children, whatever it is. I'm going to try to tell you how to deal with the chaos in your life. And today we'll hear from Mary and Zanaya, who are both asking for some love advice about their boyfriends. You must stick around for that. And plus, I'll share with you my Power Minute, my favorite segment, with some words of upliftment and encouragement and inspiration just for you. But first, we gotta get messy. It's my unpopular opinion. Gonna get on into this thing. All right, jump right in. 2021 looks like it's going to be a roller coaster season of breakups and makeups, and reality TV star and business mogul Kim Kardashian just became one of the most eligible bachelorettes in the game. I don't know if you heard me. She's available. She's single. Now that Kim is divorcing Kanye, a successful celebrity media consultant named Shiraz Hassan is shooting his shot at love with the fashionista. And he went all out to impress Kim by posting his proposal on a Hollywood billboard, okay, that he rented for $150,000. And if he continues, that's going to be a monthly fee. That $150,000 is going to be per month that this billboard stays up. Now, it's a 60-foot sign and it towers over the Sunset Strip. And the proposal says something along the lines, I don't really know because I ain't seen it, but it says something along the lines, Kim K, marry me, with his picture at the top. Now, it's a sweet sign, you know, and I thought it was really, really cute, but it could also prove to be embarrassing, okay? Because the question is, when it comes to attracting someone that you like, how much is too much? I think the sign is sweet, like I already said. But, you know, if the person ain't feeling you like that, you know, sometimes they just not into you, then you done spent $150,000, you done put up this huge billboard, and they just still really don't care. You know, so it could end up that way. He seems like a nice looking guy, but you know, I think Kim like a little thug. You know, she started with Ray J. All right, let's not forget that was her first love, and then you know, then she had went on to the basketball player Chris guy. He was a little soft though. The little Chris guy was a little soft, so we're not going to include him. But she ended up with Ye. Okay, that's the bottom line. And from Ray J to Ye, that's has a little hood potential probabilities. So I don't know if this guy really has a chance, except for a billionaire, you know, that's in there. And maybe she's like, you know what, I'm gonna leave the hood alone and I'm gonna go be about this bag. And then he will have a chance. We'll have to wait and see. Okay, because here's a little note to Shiraz. If Kim doesn't take you up on the proposal, every woman in Hollywood will see it. So you just got to keep checking your DMs because there could be a yes in your future. You know, billionaire is still up there somewhere. You know, and you got a smooth 150,000 a month that you're willing to invest in something. And you know, these girls is all about their bag. So you know, somebody else could slide in your DMs and make it happen for you. Moving on, okay. Comedian Dave Chappelle is known for his cutting edge sense of humor. Now, he doesn't sugarcoat anything, and that's why I have always loved Dave and Wanda Sykes, because they just tell it how it is, and Lunel, because they tell it how it is. But on a recent episode of The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, the subject of social media came up. How can we not talk about social media in today's time, right? So Jimmy wanted to know why Dave didn't tweet very often. And Mr. Chappelle gives an answer that only he could give. He responded with, why would I write all my thoughts on a bathroom wall? Okay. And Dave has previously stated his disdain for social media, saying that he didn't want to spill his guts out online. And so that's what that statement was about. He feels like social media is like the bathroom wall of it all, right? And why would he put for lack of better verbiage, the show of our society is what social media has become. And he's like, so why should I write my thoughts up on the bathroom wall? And this got me to thinking about how much we share about ourselves each and every day. Social media is a convenient way to stay in touch with your friends and family or connect with people you don't even know. But I have often asked this question: should we keep some thoughts to ourselves? My unpopular opinion is yes, please. Would y'all keep it to yourselves? Because I feel like I'm on season 7 of some of y'all's business. And I don't particularly want to be. But you know, the minute I open up Instagram, there you are on my feed with everything that's happening in your life. And some stuff I particularly don't want to know. Just like with me. There are parts of my life that I keep private, because they are special to me. My relationship with my husband, you guys don't see me posting that all the time because that's special. And I feel like if I'm posting every situation that's happening and everything we do and every time we go out to dinner and every time he buy me something and every time we go on vacation, you know what's going to happen? It's going to be a portion sitting and I'm going to be the Fallon. And somebody gonna show up at my doorstep trying to take Reggie. And that's what I'm not trying to have, because I'm 51 and it ain't no dating opportunities out there and I wouldn't know where to meet nobody new anyway. So I'm trying to hold on to what I got. Okay, I'm trying to hold on to this love thing because it's solid. Hey, solid as a rock. But some of y'all out there are shady and you could tempt them. So that's why I'm gonna keep my business to myself. Okay, now just remember when you tweet or post that the words live on forever. They never go away. And you have to be cognizant of that, because people will pull out some old tweets. You don't even have that same thought process anymore, but they, for the love of God, will figure out how to scroll down so that they could see what you said previously and then bring it up in a new conversation. That hint was not gotten. Rihanna. So lately she, something happened with her about some cancel culture. Okay. And it has gotten out of hand. And you guys have to understand that every other week, y'all are trying to cancel people. And this week it was Rihanna, right? Y'all tried to cancel Chrissy Teigen after her apology to Courtney Stodden, and Alec Baldwin, whose wife you tried to cancel a couple of years ago after her alleged Spanish heritage comment. So cancel culture is like a forest fire in constant need of fuel. So every time someone does something, y'all stay ready on the pulse of the button to try to tap in, okay, to cancel them. And there's no prejudice, there's no code. It tries to function objectively, but all it ends up doing is just destroying, in my opinion, our right to free speech and to have our thoughts and our opinions that our feelings. And sometimes when we put those out there, just like this unpopular opinion, you're not going to always agree, but I still have a right to have my thoughts. And so what you have is people maneuvering through, trying to be as politically correct as they can be, or not being completely transparent and honest, because they feel like if they say the wrong thing, they're going to be canceled. And we cannot operate like that. And I want to say this specifically and particularly about the comedians. Let them people be funny, and you don't have to be sensitive about everything. And here again, going back to Dave Chappelle, it's like people feel like they can't say anything nowadays because somebody is going to be sensitive somewhere and they're afraid of being canceled. Y'all have made comedians be not funny. And it's unacceptable. I love to laugh, and I grew up on Eddie Murphy and Red Fox and Flip Wilson. Yes, I'm old enough to remember Flip Wilson. And my grandma used to watch him, and Carol Burnett and Benny Hill. And they always did stuff that pushed the envelope. And now you guys have made it where these people don't even feel comfortable doing that, because the least little thing you say, somebody's complaining and writing a letter. And with comedians, I think that we should afford them a little creative liberties to just make us laugh. We've got to get back to laughter. Moving on, Lil Nas X. Okay, he caught a lot of criticism for not being a good role model after releasing his sexually charged music video, Montero, Call Me By My Name. Now, if you recall, in the video, he was seen dancing on a stripper pole and appeared to give the devil a lap dance. Fans and the media were divided, with some calling him creative and others slammed Lil Nas X for the shocking images. But he recently told GQ magazine, "At first I felt a sense of responsibility, but now I kind of just don't care. It's not my job, of course. I want to spread good ideas, but I'm not anybody's parent." Lil Nas X is very popular with the kids and adults. The question now becomes, should he be more concerned with influencing young people or just focus on his craft? Okay, we have to have this conversation every couple of years when somebody comes out and they get extremely famous. And then people say that they're a role model. And then they say, well, I never signed up to be a role model. And then, the parents, the people are like, well, my kids are looking. And then people be like, well, your kids should be looking at you. Like, we have to have this conversation every couple of years when somebody gets to that level of fame. We had it with Cardi B. We had it with Rihanna. We've had it with Nicki Minaj. We've had this conversation. So here are my thoughts on it. When you talk about, and it's a two-layered answer, when you talk about being a role model, your parents should be looking at you. There's nothing on social media or that a celebrity can offer my child that will outweigh the morals, the character, the strong convictions that I've taught them in the household, right? So from that standpoint, the artist is right. The other side of the coin is not every parent is doing that. Not every parent is hands-on. And so with social media here again being so prevalent and people looking out at celebrities as their influences, there is an unwritten, okay, we know you didn't sign up for it, but there is an unwritten rule or code of conduct that you should operate within, because you have to be well aware that children are looking at you. And so that's why I said it's a double-edged sword. No, you didn't sign up for it. My children don't look to anybody outside of me in terms of their life influences. I'm not talking about musical, well, I like their music. I'm not talking about that, the creative aspects of them. I'm talking about their life influences. They look to Tami Roman, but not every household is like that. And so we as people that are in the public eye need to be cognizant of the imagery that we're putting out. Just like when I took responsibility for some of the BS I was doing on the show that I used to be on, and realized that not only my children, but other people's children were looking at me. And I actually got a tweet one day from a young girl who said, now I go to school and I don't let anybody talk to me any kind of way, because if Tami Roman can pop off, so can I. That hit home for me, because that is not what I want you to do when you go to school, first off. And everything is not a pop-off situation. So I felt responsible in changing the narrative and recreating the imagery that I was putting out so that people can realize you don't got to pop somebody, you can pop them with your words, okay? You can get somebody all the way together with your mouth, and you don't have to put your hands on anybody. Then you don't have to get suspended. Then your mama don't have to call, be in my DMs talking about I had got you suspended for school because you was following me and you had popped somebody. I didn't want that. So I changed it. And now I feel like, people are more receptive to what is being put out now. And I'm very happy and excited about that. So I say that to say this: other celebrities, know you're not a role model, you didn't ask to be one, but you have a responsibility for the people that are looking up to you. All right, that's all we got for unpopular opinion. Today's topic is, what are your deal breakers in a relationship? When we return, we're talking to Dr. Ish Major, who is the host of Marriage Bootcamp on WeTV. And I can tell you that he is a real, licensed doctor. And the man knows what he is talking about. I should know. I told you earlier I was on boot camp, but we'll get into those stories later. You guys have got to stay tuned. This is Get Into It. I'm Tami Roman, and we're on FOXSOUL. Welcome back to Get Into It with Tami Roman. Remember to subscribe to FOXSOUL's YouTube channel and make sure that you hit the notification bell to get all the best updates on new videos and live shows. And please, people, don't forget to give the thumbs up button and tell us how you feel in the comment section. Now, my guest today is a psychiatrist who specializes in, as he puts it, dating, mating, and relating. But most of you will recognize him as the co-host of Marriage and Family Bootcamp, Reality Stars. Please welcome Dr. Ish Major.
Hey, Tammy, how you doing today?
How are you?
I'm doing well. We're actually in the middle of shooting another couple seasons, so it's a good day to be here. This is one of my down days.
Oh, because it's been 6 years since Reggie and I were on Marriage Bootcamp.
Yep, that was a great season. I remember that season.
I loved John and Elizabeth, and I felt like I learned some valuable lessons while we were at Marriage Bootcamp, but I've since watched seasons that you're hosting, and I might need to go back on there. I might need some more help. Do you ever get tired of hearing about other people's problems?
You know what? I don't. I grew up with 5 sisters and 8 aunts, and my mom and dad were together for 6 years, but I was basically just surrounded by women, right? And so it was just, I grew up in that environment of just hearing them talk, hearing them gossip, hearing them whisper. And it was just always fascinating and interesting to me, because as a little kid, I just wanted to know how things work. Every toy I ever had, Tammy, I took it apart immediately. Sometimes I got it back together and it worked. Sometimes I didn't. I just wanted to know how it worked. And so same thing when I talk to people and I hear their problems, I just want to know, how does it work? Why do you do that? You know what I mean? And so it's interesting to me.
Is it hard not to be biased? Because I know as a psychiatrist, like, you guys aren't supposed to put your feelings on another person's situation. But how do you control that?
Yeah, I think so. That's what they teach you, right? You got to take all the emotion out of it, and you got to be, very linear thinking. And I think that's BS, right? If I can't care about what's going on with you, then I can't really help you, right? Me feeling something for your situation, feeling something for your pain, feeling something for the decision you had to make. That's what helps me dig a little bit deeper and help you. Now, the thing for me is you just got to go into no judgment, right? Everybody, we are who we are. We came from where we came from, and the tools we have are the tools we have. And so when you show up to my door, there's no judgment. I'm taking you as is, and we're going to get to work from there.
On Marriage Bootcamp, do some of the couples seem like, I don't know how to help you? Like, do you ever get, y'all beyond me, it's above me now.
Look, there's always something to work on. At that point, Tami, that's when I say your journey together is coming to an end, and now it's time to work on each of you as an individual, right? Because it's something we can always work on there. Because let's be honest, you know it, Tami, you've seen it. There's some folks out there who just don't need to be together. I don't know what y'all fighting with.
This is true. And that leads me into tonight's topic, which is like deal breakers in relationships. I feel like look out at some of my friends, or like even in watching your show, it's like, well, that wasn't a deal breaker. Like, how, should single or married people have a list of things, or is that going too far? Like when you make that perfect list of your mate, is that too much?
Yeah. Well, whenever I'm driving to a new location, I have a list of the turns that I need to make and a list of the routes I'm going to take. It's how I navigate to that destination, right? I don't get on a plane. The pilot has a list of things that have to happen in order to get you from LA to New York. And so how do you expect to get the person you want if you don't have a way to navigate that? Right?
A good analogy now, Dr. Ish. Make it plain.
Right, you got to navigate it. You got to navigate it. So we're talking about deal breakers, but what we're really talking about is a list of standards and boundaries. And once those things are violated, then you know that this is not the person for you. If you don't have a standard set for yourself and for them, how do you know when it's getting violated?
This is true. But I want to say this too, because I see a lot of people make a list. And some, like I have a few friends, I ain't gonna say their name because I ain't gonna put them on front. They're on the list, and I'm like, well, girl, you don't even offer that. So can you be too picky when you're making this list? Because I feel like there should be reciprocity. If you want to make a nice body, you should be offering a nice body. You can have a tire, around your midsection, talking he got to have a 6-pack. Can you be picky?
Yeah, so it's the number one question that nobody ever asks themselves, which is, would I date me, right? If this is the thing I'm asking for, right? If this is the person I want, right? They're 6'2" and they make this amount of money and they look like Denzel and they talk to me this way and they drive this and they live here and they dress like this. Okay, what does that person want with me? Right? You got to ask, and that's a hard question to ask, Tami, because a lot of us really suffer from that disease, never enough-itis, right? And we just feel like who we are isn't enough, so we don't want to ask that question. But you got to ask it in a way that helps you build yourself and not tear yourself down.
And that's the thing, because but at the same time, don't you think that you may have to break yourself down, not break yourself down self-esteem wise, but break you down into specific compartments so that you can know what it is that needs to be addressed, right? So breaking you down.
Absolutely.
Because I just feel like some of these people are not being honest with themselves, Dr. Ish. Everything is superficial. Like, well, I'm educated, or I have, a good job, or I make a certain amount of money. And those to me are the least important things to bring into a relationship where two people are trying to become.
Right. You gotta start with the basics, right? When it comes to my list of deal breakers, what is one of the number one things a woman wants in any relationship? She wants to feel safe, right? So if he's putting his hands on you, that should be a deal breaker.
Right.
No question, non-negotiable, right? In that same category right? Because he's not going to punch you on the first date, right?
I was going to say, but there's actions that lead up to that.
Right. You got it. So, right, what is he going to do? Well, he's going to be late. He's not going to return taxes. He's going to be a little disrespectful. Then he's going to start calling you out of your name. And Tami, you know this and I know this. How many women do you know right now? I know a bunch who make excuses for him calling her out of his name. Oh, well, that's just who he is. No, that's not who he is. That's just what he thinks of you, right? And it's all a part of leading you toward that place of being less than who you think you are, so he can treat you any type of way and you're going to take it.
And let's talk specifically to these young ones, because I think they're the ones who aren't getting it, right? Like for me, like how you just said, calling you out your name. There's not any day of any year that my husband can call me a bitch.
Right.
And then still say that he loves me.
Right.
I would like for you to speak to these young ones to say that that's not right in a relationship. You're not his bitch.
Right. It's not cute. It's not funny. It's not a bae synonym. It ain't none of those things. Again, it's him priming you and prepping you and grooming you for the day when he really unlooses all the abuse he has for you and all the anger he's got for himself that he's going to pour out on you. And so, yeah, we hear it, every song we listen to just about if it's hip hop, that's the culture, right? That's the slang. And so you get so used to hearing the word, it doesn't sting as much when you hear it, but you got to understand those two worlds are totally separate. And so you're there for a place of love and to feel good and for that sweetness and that tenderness and that affection. BITC, it doesn't say any of those things with that word. So that's got to be a hard line, a hard non-negotiable, because here's the thing, is that's just who he is. Oh, that's just how he grew up. That's, he from the hood. He's this, he's that. Okay, guess what? He got a mama, but he don't call his mama.
Correct.
Right? Correct. He's had a female boss or a female manager. I bet he hadn't called that, right? He hadn't called her out. So he can control it. He can contain it. But when it comes to you, he doesn't feel the need to do so.
You better talk to these people out here. I'm telling you, enlightenment, right. They got it all the way messed up. And I had a friend one time where she said, because I'm very upfront, right? So with my husband, I feel like I'm at an age where I'm not going to play games. So this is what I'm looking for. This is what I want. If you can't do any of that, no problem. We just don't have to be together because now you've been honest about what you can deliver in terms of what, in terms of like our mental and emotional equivalency that needs to be had in a relationship, right? And so, we had several conversations. People saw us on the boot camp and all of that. And we were able to come to a meeting of the minds and compromise and make that work. So I have a friend though that says, well, you told him that as soon as you met him, that's too soon to be getting into all of that with somebody. Is that accurate?
That is highly inaccurate. Tami, I love the space you're in, because that's the space you got to be in. That's the space you got to stay in. We're talking about needs and wants, right? Back to day 3 on Marriage Bootcamp, needs and wants. Hey, this is what I'm going to need. This is what I want, right? You can sit down for your first date and a woman can lay out exactly what she needs, exactly what she wants, exactly what she's looking for, no problem. Because the guy who's looking for you is going to be disappointed if you don't. The reason he showed up is because he needs to know how to make you happy. And it is your job to show up and have the courage to let him know. And if he ain't the dude, he's going to make a decision. Hey, I enjoyed the dinner. See you when I see you. Or I can meet A, B, and C. I'm all in. But how's he going to know if you're too scared to tell him? There's nothing you're going to tell a guy on the first date. The guy that's for you, there's nothing you're going to tell him on day 1 that's going to scare him away. Nothing.
And that's what women need to come clear with, because I think so many women are fearful of spending time alone. And I'm a big advocate of I love my own company. I love my husband, but if we weren't together, I'm good with just chilling and enjoying myself. Yeah. And some women aren't in that space, but we've got to get them there.
Yep. Well, it's a scary place to be, right? Because we all need love. We gotta have it. It's not a choice. We've got to have it. And you get so scared of feeling like, hey, maybe who I am isn't enough to get the love I need in this life to be okay. And it terrifies you. And so we end up settling, right? We end up settling for the crumbs of somebody's time and attention and affection when there's somebody out there who will give you the whole cake if you could just stand up for yourself.
Who'll give you everything. And speaking of that, I want you to speak to these women. I got you on here for a reason and a purpose. Speak to these women about packaging, because a lot of women have a list, right? And the guy will be everything, but maybe he's not 6'2", he's 5'9". You know what I'm saying? And so it's like sometimes it's not the packaging that you envision, but it's the person inside of that packaging that's everything you need it to be.
Right. Yeah. And so at that point, it's my question to you is, who are you performing for, right? Right? Who's your audience for this relationship it is you say you want, right? Who are you trying to please? Because if you're trying to please your mama and them, you're gonna pick a certain guy. But if you want to please you, that may be a totally different dude. If you're trying to please your girlfriends and have somebody who they like, then that may be a totally different dude from the one who's actually going to make you happy. So you got to ask yourself, who am I performing for today, right? Who's my audience today? And you got to allow the gifts to show up in the wrapper that the universe sends you, right? Just because it may not look like you thought it would, have all the things right? You got to go with how you feel, right? Don't let your head trick you into something your heart knows, right? Your head will trick you into settling every single time, but your heart always feels like it's missing out on something it really deserves, and you know that.
You know, I'm gonna have to get in your business, but we do have to. But you don't get to get off the hook. You know, I need to find out, like, for you, what are some of your deal breakers when you know, like, are you single?
No. Long term.
So we need to know. Look, I had to get close for that one. I was like, we need to know, what were some of your deal breakers before you got into the relationship that you're, you know, just so that people could understand what some of those things look like.
And well, Tami, you know, my journey hasn't been a lot different from everybody else's, right? I've had heartbreaks, and I've had those disappointments, and I've had relationships that showed up and they didn't help me feel good about me. And so I had to unplug for a long time and just really examine some of my codependent tendencies. You know what I mean? I was the person who showed up and tried to do everything I could to possibly make you happy and make it okay, and take responsibility for your feelings and for your life. And if I could finally do enough for you, then maybe you could love me back. And then that would prove to me that I'm something, you know?
That's powerful. And you had a thought process.
I had to rewrite the tape. You remember? I don't know if you're old enough to remember those old Memorex cassette tapes where you can record over a song after you recorded the first time.
Yeah.
I had to re-record some things because that was a narrative that was running in my head. So I just had to change the way I talk to myself. And so now for me, deal breakers is, if you don't treat me well, that's a deal breaker, right? You're not gonna say all kinds of crazy things to me. You're gonna treat me well. And I don't mean with some overbearing level of respect. You're just going to be nice and kind, right? You're going to be a good human.
Common decency.
Right, just common decency, right? It's nothing extra, you know, that's the thing. You know, one of the things we struggle with, especially in the community, is substance use, right? Whether it's weed or whether it's alcohol or anything harder. And so everybody's got to make their own call on that. But what I would tell folks who are struggling with the partner who's dealing with a partner who's struggling with that is, once it gets to the point where it's affecting you and your family, right? If you can't get your rent or your mortgage paid because of what they're putting in their body, up their nose or in their arm, then that's a problem. And you got to know where that line is, because there's only so far you can go before you both are going to sink.
Oh my goodness, the gems that are being dropped. We got to take a quick break, but we'll continue to chat with Dr. Ish after this break about deal breakers in a relationship when we return. So don't go away, because this is Get Into It with Tami Roman on FOXSOUL. Hey, we're back with Get Into It. I'm Tami Roman, and I'm chatting with Dr. Ish Major from Marriage Bootcamp on WeTV. Now, before the break, I wanted to ask you, what is the craziest thing or issue that you've heard from a celebrity couple on Marriage Bootcamp?
Woo! Well, how much time you got? Listen. Well, you know the thing that breaks my heart, Tami, when the couples come in, because let's say if he's the celebrity and she's the non-celebrity, then one of the most heartbreaking things is, I just got to put up with him cheating, right? Because that's just the industry. That's just what guys do. So that's part of the buy-in. If I'm going to be with a guy like that, I got to deal with the fact that I'm not going to be the only one. And that just breaks my heart. You know, it just does. Tami, one of the craziest things was, had a celebrity couple come in. She was the celebrity. It was her house, her money, her control. He was beating her in her house. cheating on her in her bed. And she couldn't wrap her head around the fact of leaving him. You know why, Tami? Because if I leave him, I'm going to be a single Black mom with 5 kids. And who's going to want me?
Oh my goodness.
Right?
How did you help them?
Right? So it takes time, right? Because again, I'm gonna meet you at the door with what you bring, right? So if that's what you're working with, we're gonna start right there, and then we're gonna build up, we're gonna give you some tools and some building blocks to go from there. 6 months later, after they left the show, I get a DM from her. And it's her with a big smile on her face in her house by herself because she got him gone. And she was like, I just want you to know, I heard what you said back then and I got to work and I want to thank you. And so it was amazing to see.
I love that. Do any of the couples be faking?
Oh, you know they do. You know they do. And you know we bust them every single time as soon as they come in here. They got to go.
I remember when we did it, they pulled us in the office and we've heard that you guys may not be a real relationship.
Yes.
I said, we're not a real relationship because we don't post each other all over the gram for y'all to be in our relationship. So it's like we had to prove that we were a couple. And it's like we've been together, you know, and then since that time, I'm like, nah, I know they not a couple.
And you think about boot camp, Tami, is if you don't know each other, you can't get those 10 days done, right? And if you don't have any emotional connection, day 5 or 6, you're gonna be like, somebody need to call me an Uber because I got to go.
Yes, because it's real heavy work. People do not understand that show is not a game. Like I thought I was going on there making a quick check, Dr. Ish. I ain't gonna lie to you, but that ended up being some work, baby. But I'm thankful for it. Because it taught us how to communicate properly, which leads me to this next question of people always talking about what's the key to a healthy relationship? Communication. People don't really understand what proper communication really looks like. Are you able to touch on that?
Yeah, so proper communication to me is one word: honesty. Right? And your truth is going to change over time, right? If you've been together for 10 years, the things that turned you on 10 years ago, you're probably not into now, right? You got to be honest with your partner about that change. The things that felt, for women in particular, your bodies change, babies change your body. The things that felt good 20 years ago don't feel good to me now, right? But you got to be honest with them about the changes. And so we get so scared to share our truth with our partner because we think, well, maybe they'll think it's weird, or maybe they'll think we're different, and now somehow they'll love us less than, and I won't get the love I need and I deserve, and I'm right back to square one, that we just want to keep it status quo. And again, settle for those crumbs of affection when we could really be getting the whole cake. You just got to be courageous enough to tell folks the truth.
Tell people the truth. Another thing that I actually learned in the bootcamp about communication was most people view communication as what they want to say, right? Like you said, being honest and saying whatever it is you want to say. The problem is you don't know how the person on the other side of that conversation is receiving it. And what Reggie and I still do it to this day, is when he says something to me, I take the time to process, but then I repeat it back to him to make sure he meant in what he was saying, you know, because that's a lot of issues. Do you like that method, or you got something like that?
Oh, that's the method I taught last week. It's the method I'm going to teach this week. LUV, listen, understand, and validate, right? You're going to repeat back to them the exact same thing they said, word for word, just so they know you heard them. And then you're going to ask them, did I get that right? Is that what so what I'm hearing you say is, you don't like it when I touch your hair anymore because that doesn't feel as good as it used to, and it makes you feel a little weird now. Is that right? Yeah, that's what you heard me say, right? And so now what you're really doing, Tami, is you're starting to resolve little arguments and little resentments, not because you had a fancy solution, not because you had a big bad plan, simply because your partner knows you heard them. And in any relationship, all we want is to be seen, heard, and understood. If I can see you, hear you, and understand you, you're going to feel good about where it is, and you're going to feel good about moving forward, and we don't have to carry that baggage with us.
And I totally agree. Because you know, some of the times when I repeat it back, he'd be like, no. What I'm trying to say is,
Right.
now see, if I had to just gone on,
right.
Before we're in an argument about something that you weren't even trying to say that. So I think, yeah.
Right. Always pause and ask for clarification. So wait, did I just hear you say that you think it's okay to do A, B, and C? Oh wait, no, that's not what I meant, right? So you just got to clarify.
Let me ask you this: one thing that anyone can do to start being a better partner to their mate. I feel like we know honesty, learn how to have patience, communicate. Yeah. Is there something that no one has thought about that? It's like, well, if you start doing this, you can actually be a better partner to your mate.
Yeah. The thing you've got to do is two things, right? So you create a space that makes it okay for each other, for you to tell each other the truth. And then you lead them to where they want to go, right? You're showing up every day because you think you can make each other happy. Yeah. But we're so scared to ask for it. Number one, we don't think they're going to really get it. And number two, maybe I don't really deserve it anyway. So the one thing you can do, we can all do to be a better partner is just ask them how. Hey, you know what? I know I'm showing up and I'm doing the best, but some days I know I'm not being the man you need me to be, right? And some days I know I'm falling short, and I want you to know that I know that. So I'm here asking you today, what can I do today, right? Give me one thing I can do today.
Let me just approach one day at a time. What can I do today?
Right.
Oh, I love that. Listen, before you get out of here, Dr. Ish, we have something around here that we call Tammy's Fast Five.
All right.
Crazy and out the box. But I'm going to ask the question and you say the first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay, let's go for it.
Okay. How long does it take for a couple to really get to know each other? And how long did it take you and your mate before you said, this is the one for me?
3 dates.
3 dates. Why 3 dates?
Every man knows if he's falling in love at the end of the 3rd date, and everything you need to know about them, they showed you on those first 3 dates. You just got to pay attention.
What's the number one problem that causes couples to break up?
Not believing you're worth being happy. And so you assume that this other person is going to show up and believe the same thing. And so you go through your relationship looking for the evidence to support your own insecurity, and that's all you ever find.
Mm-hmm. If you were on a deserted island and you could only have one movie to watch for the rest of your life, what would it be?
It is going to be, I'm a big musical fan, Tammy. So for me, it's going to be 7 Brides for 7 Brothers. It's going to be My Fair Lady. It's probably also going to be The Sound of Music. I got 5 sisters. We grew up with musicals.
One of those.
7 Brides for 7 Brothers. That's my thing. Adam Ponape all day long. I'm old school with that.
What is too much for you in the bedroom?
Wow. My first guess is nothing.
And what's your best piece of advice for a long-lasting relationship?
My best piece of advice is you got to show up and be the thing you never had, right? Hey, Dad wasn't there, so that taught me I wasn't important, so you got to be that thing, right? Mom couldn't give me all the time I needed, so maybe I'm not significant enough, so you got to be that thing to yourself, right? And then if you can be the thing you never had, you can start attracting those things you never had. But it all starts with you.
Ooh, you done dropped some gems. How can everybody find you, Dr. Ish?
Find me on the gram, Tammy, Dr._ISH_Major, Dr. Ish Major. Same thing on Twitter, same thing on Facebook. It's just my name. That's what I got to show up and be. That's all I am, Tammy.
And when's the new season of Marriage Bootcamp?
Woo! You know what? We are taping 2 seasons right now. The next season should drop probably late summer.
Okay, perfect. Now if you need some alumni to swing through, I can just walk through the place and tell
them. Come on through.
You want some BS and y'all a fake relationship. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really enjoyed our talk. Everyone stick around because you've got questions and I've got answers. Ask Tami is up next on Get Into It with Tami Roman on FOXSOUL. Welcome back to Get Into It. I'm Tami Roman, and you know what time it is. It's time for Ask Tami. Now, this is where you send me a short, and I repeat, a short 1-minute video about a relationship issue you'd like some advice on, or any issue that you're having in particular. And tonight we got a video, and it's actually 2 friends who want relationship advice. Let's check out Mary and Zanaya.
Tami, we were wondering. Hi, Miss Tami Roman. My name is Mary Kenna. This is Miss Naya McDonald, and we have some questions concerning relationships. Okay, I love a man that gives me that mental stamina. That's what really intrigues me. But my boyfriend, that's where he's lacking. So how do I tell him to give me that mental stamina without hurting his feelings?
And then my question is, I've been with a guy for over 4 years, and we recently decided to break up. But now it's been a couple months later, and so we're deciding to get back together. But I don't know what's holding me back. So I was wondering if you could help me, Tami.
Help us, Tami, please.
Please.
Thank you.
Okay, now, first of all, that musical intro, now y'all need to work on that harmony a little bit because it's only 2 of y'all. So we should have had that 2-part harmony super, super tight. But I did appreciate the creativity. Yes, come on, Mary and Zanaya. Let's handle Mary's issue first, okay? You just got to tell them, if you're in a relationship with somebody, you cannot be worried about hurting feelings. That person should be able to have a dialogue with you about anything. I'm telling you right now, sit this person down and say, babe, for me, I need stimulating conversation. And sometimes I feel like you're not there with me, that there are other things that you're focused on. And so I get the short combos, and I want more than that. Have that conversation with him, and then segue into the type of topics and the type of dialogue that you actually want to have. See, we're not gonna start off by telling him that he's stupid. We're not gonna say that, okay? We're just gonna say, I wanna be able to have more conversations with you that are stimulating. Get him on that bandwagon first, and then segue into, and the stuff you talking about is not interesting. So how can we elevate that? That's how we got to do that. We got to slow walk it. But I'm telling you, the minute that you tell him you got something, he gonna have something that he wants to get off of his chest too. And you two, as a couple, should definitely be able to have communication and conversations about how to make your relationship better and more fulfilling for the both of you. So sit them down, girl. Now on to Zanaya. Here's what I think. You were together, you broke up, you didn't go into why you broke up in detail, but now you're trying to get back together and you're having second thoughts. You know why? Because of what you went through the first time with this person. And I'm not saying that people can't grow and elevate and become everything that you need them to be and what they should be. What I'm saying is that you are hesitant because you are holding on to the experiences you had the first time around. So one of 2 things has to happen. You either have to let all that baggage go and create a clean slate, that this person now will operate on a clean slate, and they can either show you that they've changed, because we never take words, right? No, who cares about what people are saying? We need to know what you're doing. When he comes into the new situation that you guys are trying to develop, those actions need to be on point. And the minute that you see that they are not, you need to get on down the highway again. The other way this can flow is you just say, you know what, I don't want it. I'm not able to put aside what happened. Although I've forgiven you and I've learned from it and I've grown from it, I don't want to continue the possibility of having any type of relationship with you, because the first time around hurt me immensely and I'm not willing to do it again. So that's what I got for you. Okay, hopefully that helps you. Either you got to get on down the highway or you got to start from a clean slate and really forgive and move on to a future that is positive for both of you, or you just don't enter into that situation at all. Now, if you want some advice on your relationship, your family drama, or a personal issue, send me a 1 to 2 minute video. Email it to asktammy@foxsoul.tv. Up next, are you feeling discouraged? You feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulders? Well, I have some encouragement for you. Stick around. My favorite segment, the Power Minute, is up next.
A message for you. Enjoy the present moment, the moment you are in today, the moment of being loved and cared for and supported and content. Enjoy that right now, because when you enjoy that fully right now, it refills your cup and energizes you to face Monday. So enjoy where you are. Love every single second of it.
Oh my goodness. Come on, Faith, with that message of encouragement. Thank you so much for that pick me up. And you, soulmates, thanks for rocking with me today. And a special thanks to Dr. Ish Major for stopping by tonight. Now, I'll be back tomorrow and we'll get into it with our special guest, Jamel Hill, as she joins our conversation on standing up and speaking out against racism and injustice in sports and entertainment. You definitely don't want to miss that. I'm just going to go ahead on and say it. Y'all have a great evening. I'm going to see you tomorrow. I'm going to try to unpack some boxes. I'm going to try to cook a little something in this kitchen. So it may not be white tomorrow, y'all, because I may have been all over the place with my husband. Stay tuned. The Book of Sean is coming up next. Bye.